This is the news coming out of the White House today for many Canadians. Canadians put their faith in the Prime Minister because they believed that he'd fight for them, for their jobs, for their paychecks, and for their families. But they were false promises, because months after he promised a deal, we still have no deal. Instead, we have the fastest shrinking G7 economy. We have 86,000 more people out of work, and now $1 trillion flowing out of Canada with tariffs that are higher, not lower. So does the Prime Minister realize that his broken promises have real consequences for Canadians?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Industry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and that's exactly why we're working to protect jobs, to create jobs, and to keep and attract the best talent here in Canada. And we've got a number of responses. We've got the Strategic Response Fund that is working across sectors. We're building major projects with Canadian steel, Canadian lumber, our Build Canada Homes project, which is bringing tens of thousands of homes across Canada using Canadian products, Canadian workers, Canadian union labour. We'll always be there for our workers and our businesses. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Thornhill.
None of that is working because there's 86,000 Canadians out of a job today, and they must know that this isn't about politics. It's about people. People who believed that this Prime Minister said he would stand up for them. He danced around with his elbows in the sky. He promised every Canadian that he would fight. This is about workers who have seen their shifts cut, their costs rise, and their hope fade, all because there's $1 trillion going southbound instead of being invested here in Canada. All they wanted for him was to keep his word. Why won't he?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Industry.
Monsieur le Président, je vous rappelle.
Mr. Speaker, first of all, this trade war was started by the U.S. They are the ones who started it. And how are we reacting? We are reacting by helping our businesses. 2 weeks ago, I had announced 500 jobs in Varennes. Then I announced 300 jobs in Sorel.
The Honourable Member for Calgary East.
The Prime Minister is in Washington begging with his elbows down, chasing $1 trillion of Canadian investment jobs to the U.S. He promised to sign a deal by July 21st. It's October. Instead, he caved to the President's demands on counter-tariffs and digital service taxes. Now, Canadian workers, businesses, manufacturers, and farmers all got hit with double U.S. tariffs. And the Prime Minister probably got stuck with the lunch bill, too. Will he stop begging and negotiate an actual win for Canada against U.S. tariffs?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians were under no illusion that this was going to be easy, but they chose a Prime Minister. Who.
I couldn't hear. Sorry, colleagues. Sorry. My apologies. I couldn't hear. The Honourable Minister of Jobs. The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians were under no illusion that this would be easy. But what they wanted was a leader that would be truthful with them, that would stand up for them, that would make sure that the government that they selected would have their backs in difficult times. And that's exactly what we're doing, Mr. Speaker, whether it's investing in our steel industry, whether it's supporting skilled trades, whether it's building major projects. This government has the back of Canadian workers, something I don't think that they can say about the opposite party.
The Honourable Member for Calgary East.
Yeah, Canadians were promised one thing, but the bait and switch left them with a leader that's elbows and knees down now. And the Liberals can't get their story straight on the economy. First, they blamed Trump's tariffs on having the fastest shrinking economy in the G7. Now they claim they got the best deal on tariffs with the U.S. It doesn't add up. And since the Prime Minister took office, he's doubled the deficit, chased $52 billion of investment into the U.S., and now another $1 trillion, and 86,000 Canadians have lost their jobs. Why? Is it because the Prime Minister has failed trade diplomacy, his failed economic policy, or both?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Financial Institutions.
Mr. Speaker, when Canadians compared leaders, they had a choice between a world-class leader, world-class economic business experience, versus a leader with none. On November 4th, we're going to table a disciplined budget that is going to create jobs. You want to talk about job creation, Mr. Speaker? The only job the leader opposite has ever created was the one he left open for the member for Carleton. happened in the last election. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Hastings, Lennox and Addington, Tiendinaga.
This Prime Minister is a man of sharp contrasts. He vowed to deliver the strongest G7 economy. We have the weakest. He promised thousands of new jobs. 86,000 Canadians have lost theirs. He said he would negotiate a win with the United States. Instead, weak negotiations dressed up as a victory. Mr. Speaker, they talk a big game about having the best deal. It's quite the contrary. Is this failure the result of economic mismanagement, his diplomatic incompetence, or both?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, about incompetence. For a member opposite to not understand why CUSMA gives us the best deal in the world is sheer incompetence in Canadian politics. But what I will say, Mr. Speaker, is that this government is solely focused on the success of Canadians, whether it's investing in the kinds of projects that will create great jobs, making sure people have the skills to be able to take those jobs, and supporting Canadians in good times and in bad. Canadians know that this Liberal government has their back, and they're really not very sure about those guys.
The honourable member for Louis Saint Laurent Aquia-Renrac. Mr. Speaker, it's the moment of truth for the Prime Minister. He's at the White House to try to fulfill his key promise in the election campaign, getting a great agreement for Canada. Let's recall, he promised the end of tariffs on the auto sector, softwood lumber, energy, aluminum, steel. It was all supposed to be over by July 21st, but that didn't work. And since then, we've seen concession after concession after concession. Canadians deserve better. Can the government explain to us why the Prime Minister has never delivered the goods? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Industry. Mr. Speaker, we are facing an extremely complex situation. And the best thing to do is not to rush into a bad deal. We will not rush into a terrible deal with the unpredictable president. But currently, we already have an excellent trade agreement with the U.S. 85% of our exports enter the U.S. without tariffs, without taxes, and we are going to negotiate the best deal in the interest of all Canadians, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member for Louis Saint Laurent Aquia-Renrac. Mr. Speaker, when my colleague was at the provincial level, he balanced the budget. I respected that. But since he's been here with this Prime Minister, the debt has doubled. That's the result of this administration. Yes, we want a good deal. But 6 months ago, when he was elected, the Prime Minister was saying there would be a great deal by July 21st. But 6 months later, there's nothing, only concession after concession. What can Canadians expect from a government that only knows how to make concessions? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Industry. Mr. Speaker, what Canadians can expect is a government that will negotiate the best possible deal for all Canadians from all parts of the country and all sectors. Currently, 85% of our exports reach the U.S. without being tariffed. We are not going to rush into a bad deal. We're going to get the best deal at the right time.